All right, today we're diving into one of the most profound chapters of the entire Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 9. It's often called the King of Secrets, and believe me, it's for a very good reason. It promises to unveil a kind of knowledge that can change not just what you think, but the very way you see reality. So let's get into it and unlock this secret together.
Right out of the gate, Krishna makes this absolutely incredible promise to Arjuna. He's not just offering some interesting facts, he's offering the king of all knowledge, the most sacred secret there is. And get this last part, it's very easy to perform and inexhaustible. That right there tells you we're in for something that is both incredibly deep and somehow totally accessible.
So what exactly is this royal secret? Well, the text calls it Guhya Jnanam, and it comes with a condition. It's a promise of total liberation, but it's really meant for those who can listen with an open and a trusting heart.
Yeah, in the very first verse, Krishna says he's about to share the most secret knowledge. And it's something that goes way beyond just theory. This is practical wisdom. And the goal? It's super simple and direct. To free us from ashubhat, from all the stuff that binds us, from worldly suffering. This isn't just philosophy for the sake of it, it's a literal roadmap to freedom.
And listen, the stakes could not be higher. Verse 9.3 just lays it all out on the table. The text says that faith in this path is the one deciding factor. For those without faith, it says, they don't reach the divine. Instead, they return to the path of the mortal world, that whole cycle of birth and death. So what the text is really saying is that this knowledge needs a little bit of faith to unlock its true power.
Now, here's where things get really interesting. The way this chapter describes the nature of the divine, well, it's not a simple, neat definition. Instead, it's presented as this beautiful, totally mind-bending paradox that really challenges how we normally think about existence.
Just look at this. In one breath, Krishna says, all living beings are in me. And in the very next sentence, he says, and yet they are not in me. So what is going on here? This isn't a contradiction, it's a paradox, and it's pointing to a much deeper truth. The idea is that the divine is in everything. It's the very fabric of reality, but it's not limited or contained by anything in that reality. It's like it's the container, but it's also infinitely bigger than the container itself.
And to help us wrap our heads around this huge idea, the text gives us this perfect analogy. Think about it. The wind is everywhere, right? It's moving through everything, but it's always contained within the vastness of the sky. The wind doesn't really affect the sky, but it can't exist without it. In that same way, all of creation exists within the divine, supported by it, but never, ever confining it. And just to hammer this all-encompassing point home, the chapter just launches into this incredible series of declarations. It starts with the very basics of worship. I am the ritual. I am the fire. So the divine isn't just the one you're worshiping, it is the act of worship itself.
And it doesn't stop there. It expands out into the realm of all relationships, of life itself. The text says, the divine is the source of everything. The father, the mother, the one who sustains us, even the grandfather of the entire universe.
Then the lens pulls back even wider. The divine is our ultimate destination, our goal. It's our protection, our refuge, and it's the very origin point of all existence, the eternal, imperishable seed from which everything grows.
And then, bam, the breathtaking conclusion to this whole buildup. The divine contains the ultimate duality. I am the nectar, and I am death. Immortality and mortality, existence and nothingness. Literally nothing, absolutely nothing is outside of its scope. Wow.
Okay, so if the divine is in absolutely everything, how are we supposed to relate to it? Well, the text lays out two very different ways people tend to go, and it really comes down to their understanding and their basic nature.
So on one side, you've got those who are described as deluded, the ones who ignore this supreme reality. Their hopes, their actions, their knowledge, it's all called futile because it's guided by a demonic and deceitful nature. But on the other side, you have the great souls. They embrace a divine nature. They know the divine is the unshakable source of everything, and they worship with a totally undivided mind.
So the chapter then describes the path of those who are just doing rituals to get heavenly rewards. They worship, they get to the celestial realms, they enjoy all these incredible pleasures. But there's a catch. The text says that once their good karma, their merit, runs out, they return to the mortal world. It's this endless cycle of going up and coming back down, but it's not ultimate freedom.
But then we get this incredible alternative.
For those who worship with that undivided mind, who aren't focused on temporary rewards, but on the divine itself, there's a profound promise. The text uses this term yog kshem, which basically means taking care of everything, your provisions, your security, your well-being. For these devotees, the divine personally takes on the responsibility for their welfare. It's a game changer.
Okay, this brings us to the final part of the chapter, and honestly, this might just be the most powerful section of all, because here we find out that this deep, profound connection isn't just for a select few. No, it's presented as a path that is shockingly simple and completely open to everyone. This right here is one of the most famous, most revolutionary verses in the entire Gita. The divine doesn't want fancy rituals or expensive stuff. What truly matters is the intention, the reverence, the love behind the action. Even the simplest, most humble offering, if it's given from a pure heart, is accepted.
I mean, just think about what this means. The things listed here, a leaf, a flower, a piece of fruit, a little water, these are things available to anyone, no matter how rich or poor you are. This was a radical idea. It completely shifts the focus of spirituality away from complicated, expensive rituals and puts it squarely on the inner state of the person. It's not about what you give, but how you give it.
And if you thought that was inclusive, hold on. The text makes this absolutely stunning declaration about the power of redemption. It says even a Sudarachara, a very evil person, if they turn to the divine with undivided devotion, they should be considered righteous. Why? Because they've made the right choice, the right resolve, and that single-minded focus kicks off a rapid transformation. The promise is so clear, my devotee does not perish.
And here's what's truly revolutionary. This path just smashes the social and religious barriers of its time. The text explicitly says that women, and also people from the merchant and laborer classes, by taking refuge in the divine, can attain the ultimate goal. This is a universal invitation to spiritual freedom for everybody.
So the chapter wraps up by giving us this beautiful, super practical 4-step guide. It boils down the entire teaching into a clear set of actions. Fix your mind on the divine. Be a devotee. Dedicate all your actions and offer your reverence. It's a whole spiritual practice distilled right into one verse.
And what's the result of all this? What's the final outcome? Well, here it is, the ultimate promise. The outcome of this practice isn't getting a reward from the divine. The outcome is union with the divine. By connecting yourself so completely, by making the divine your ultimate goal, the text says you will find it. You will achieve that union.
So let's bring this all home with one final question for you. This ancient wisdom isn't just for then, it's for now. The chapter tells us that any act, no matter how small, can become a sacred offering if it's done with devotion. So, what simple act in your work, at your home, with your family, what could you dedicate today